Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. It's a totally worth it Wednesday. What did I tell you? What did I freaking tell you? What did I tell you?
Sorry, we're watching the game.
We're watching Astros versus the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, my gosh.
I want to say, is that a base clearing? Yes, it was a base clearing triple.
It's the Astros
in the top of the eighth. And I was telling JJ, we just had this conversation.
And I don't like
Oh,
you.
yeah, you're an Astros fan?
Barely.
Hey, same
Cheater.
colors. Guess what? The Tigers are the same colors without all the baggage. And without all the World Series wins, too. So they started to get pretty deep in this at bat. And I said, look, the numbers aren't good for pitchers once they get to that 7th and 8th and 9th pitches. And the Lions, the Tigers, some feline, the Tigers batter had fouled off like 5 in a row, and I went right before the last pitch. I go, this is not going to end well for the Astros pitcher. And what happened? The very next pitch,
Nostradamus.
Rip down the line. No, the numbers don't lie. You've seen it every time you watch a game and some guy fouls off 14 pitches. It's not like he gets tired and, oh, whoops. He's figuring out that pitcher every little bit, and the pitcher doesn't have the element of surprise anymore either. He can't just be like, he knows what my off stuff looks like. He knows what my windup looks like from X, Y, and Z. So the Tigers just went up 5-2 in the top of the 8th, and if they win this thing, they will have swept Houston in Houston to move on to the it's the ALDS after
Correct.
this, right?
I
There you
believe they're the lowest seeded team, so they would play the Yankees.
So, that's classic too.
Maybe I'm right or wrong on that. I don't know how that works.
I don't really care. The Mariners aren't in it, so whatever. What I do is, JJ, I feel great when teams that are successful, like the Astros, run into a bit of not success, right? They won the NL West this year, or the AL West this year, and it was supposed to be my Mariners' year, all right? It's supposed to be anybody but the Astros. The Astros weren't even that good this year compared to when they are, but anyway. I digress. It's baseball, and who cares about freaking
Well, their
baseball?
season's over, so the
I hope
Tigers
so.
Tigers are 3 outs away from moving on to play. The Guardians is actually who they would play in the next
Well,
round.
there's 6 outs actually because it's at Houston.
Oh, you're
so they
right.
got to go bottom 8, bottom 9, figuring out. And you know how Jose Altuve is. He's been in this situation before. I feel like they'll get a couple runs back. I almost guarantee it. You know, this is some place that the Tigers are usually not used to.
Andy Ibanez is the hero.
Oh, Andy? Is that really his first name? It's not Craig. It's not Craig Ibanez.
Craig Ibanez.
All right, let's kick off the program.
Have you ever met anybody named Craig Ibanez?
Ibanez. Me llamo Craig. Oh, my gosh.
No.
Me llamo William. Yeah, okay. We got tons to get through here. It's a Wednesday. We got tons going on, and I want to remind you, tomorrow we're going to be on the road. We're going to be out and about at the shops at Southtown. It is our Utah Hockey Club Roundtable. We're getting you ready for the season. Anything you need to know about hockey, that's all going to fire up tomorrow live down there in Sandy at the shops at Southtown. And we're excited about it. It's just another notch in the belt for us to get closer and closer to hockey and for us to, frankly, learn a little bit more and more about hockey. Our program is brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. You can find them at Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other places in your grocer's refrigerated section. Let's kick the program off, though, because the controversy that is swirling around the University of Utah, and maybe this is a moot point, and this is always hard when the discussion surrounds the health of a player. And yet here we are, and we would never be having this conversation, I'm convinced, if NIL was not a part of this discussion. But it is, and so let's jump in here. It's the top of the hour. It's The Cut. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I always hate the two the double standard of, hey, man, these are kids, all right? Like, he's just a kid. And then we go, hey, these are adults. They can make their own decisions. Well, which one is it, right? And there's an article up at CBS Sports right now, and Dennis Dodd wrote it up. And it basically is the reflection of, I think, the way a lot of folks are feeling surrounding the Cam Rising situation, JJ, which is the injury report not really helping us understand at all, because there's no injury report that you have to give as a collegiate program. And I'm not asking for you to divulge everything about these kids. I really do think that college is different than the pros. And despite the fact that that Cam Rising is the highest paid NIL athlete in the state, at least for now, that is a huge deal. And the money that surrounds Cam Rising is a lot. And so when he has only played in 18 games, 3.5 quarters of those last 18 games, and he's making, the type of money that he is, people start to wonder about it. Which also makes us, whether it's right or wrong, it makes us talk about this and question the young man, not about whether or not he's faking it. And so they're not asking whether or not he's faking it. Are we asking for more clarity? What do we want, JJ, in all this? You've covered thousands of injuries across the pros, whether it's the NBA or the NFL or now the NHL, Major League Baseball, and then there's the collegiate injury, which is a very different beast. And out of all the ones you've covered, how can we help a situation like this? Because the reality is fans do want answers here, and they feel like they aren't getting any, and there's a little part that makes you feel like that we're being lied to a little bit as a public.
There's one word: transparency. I think if we understood exactly what the issue was, and even if you put a timetable, people are going to understand a timetable. Here's an example, and we had it yesterday on our show. Is Connor Pay comes on our show, as he always does. It just so happens that Connor Pay had an injury.
Yes.
Which, under normal circumstances, would not be discussed, would not be talked about, and the coaches would let you guess on when his availability would be. Now, this isn't a quarterback. This is the center, who is an important part, and he is a captain, by the way.
Yes.
He's an important part of BYU's success, but this is not the quarterback, so it's a little bit apples and oranges. Mm-hmm. But what did he do? We asked him, and he answered. He told us exactly what happened, when it happened, and what his prognosis is, and how long it's probably going to take him to recover.
But in full, pull the curtain back.
Yes.
How did this conversation start? It was
simply asking what happened.
Right?
Would you like to share?
Would you tell me the
level of comfort? Can you share what's going on?
Because we've worked with these schools a lot, and we've been in various positions of, quote unquote, being in trouble for asking the questions or whatever. But in this case, it was, we'll let you take the lead on this. We're not going to dig in on your personal. You don't need to tell us anything about your injury that you don't want to, how it happened, what the prognosis is. And he told us, he said, I'm happy to share it. And so we said, okay, you're okay to share it on the record? Yeah, absolutely. So when we started to have the conversation, we didn't ask him pre-ask him what it was. We just got right into it and said, okay, what happened and what's the timeline? Because he said those are the two things he was comfortable sharing. And you know what he did? He shared it all. And we had to walk away and go, okay. There were no other questions, by the way, about his health. We couldn't. What else were we going to ask him? Yeah, but are you really going to be back after 6 weeks? Because we know that that is something that has to be seen in time.
But he even explained that.
Yes.
Like that's what they say, but it takes some time. So then everybody understands, right? Like BYU fans out there don't need to wonder or worry about when are they going to see Connor back on the field. The rest of the media who covers BYU doesn't have to ask Kalani Sitake, what's Connor's status? Because it's already out there. It's already, and there's no reason to prolong that because he knew what the issue was. So how much drama does that solve?
Yeah.
That's just one player. Now, Cam Rising has his own radio spot on another signal. He's got opportunities to do what he could do that if he wanted to.
Has he shared it?
No.
Oh. What do they talk about exactly then? Like, if you're that, honestly, if you're that person, what do they talk about?
Well,
what's your favorite sandwich? Like, what are we talking about in an
interview?
I'm
not
like
criticizing Cam. Cam's doing what he's being asked to do, is not share anything.
Okay.
Because that's the gamesmanship or whatever this is. And now this is becoming an issue where this is not about fooling the media or fooling your opponent. This is starting to hurt the player under your watching your program because it's making them look bad. It's not fair to Cam Rising what's happening now. It was not fair what happened to Cam Rising last year.
Yeah.
Because of what? A lack of transparency.
Right.
What's going on? Like, that's all everybody wants to know. And you know why everybody wants to know? Because they care. This is not, there's nothing, that's all it is here, is Utah fans care about Cam and want to know what the status is.
Okay.
They want to know who's going to play. And there's even another thing here that we don't do, but plenty of people do. They put money on these games.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it,
and
that no one's actually talking about, right?
And here's another problem: is those people get mad that they bet on a game that Cam was supposed to play in and didn't. And what do you think those people are doing? He's getting hate messages.
Oh, for sure.
I am certain of it.
Oh, yeah.
From people who are not happy that are betting on his games.
When you're healthy and you don't play well, you get those.
Now that's despicable.
And that's terrible.
That's despicable. But this could be avoided with transparency. Right. And this is why college football and all sports, in honesty, need to do what the NFL does. They are transparent with their injuries. The league requires teams to report injuries, and they have to report them a certain time. Remember with Christian McCaffrey week 1, they were trying to be a little bit wishy-washy about what the situation was with that, and the league actually investigated it. Like, they're serious about it. You need to eliminate this. Be transparent about what you're doing because you're not doing any favors to your player who is injured. If Cam has this big, huge, bulky thing over his fingers, it's clearly not just a laceration. It's clearly not nothing. It's not minor.
I love
he's missed how many games now?
I know. It's what's crazy about it is that
he has to wear a glove when he throws.
If anybody has seen the picture that's been, the autograph session heard around the world now, Cam and this promotional event that he did where he's signing autographs, and the hand that he signs with is the one that he's got this sizable apparatus. Is that the word? Apparatus sounds aggressive, but it's a splint that I've never seen before, and it's black and it's holding the two middle fingers separated but also rigid at the same time. I don't know what I'm describing at this point. It's not. I'm gonna just tell you right now. It looks like something off of Batman's belt. All right, right? It looks a little bit bionic. It's fine. And the thing is that then we need to be a little bit more clear about what's going on here, because I've cut my finger open and had stitches before on my hand multiple times. As a child and as an adult, I've had it happen. And you know what I never had on those fingers that I had cut up was splints that held two fingers together.
Right.
And again, what happens when we don't have transparency? You brought it up as perfect because it's exactly what we're missing here. Now, what happens when you don't have transparency is the guessing starts to happen. And I would even say, too, sports fans, we are absolute dopes. Like and people who gamble, absolute idiots when it comes down to it. Because what do they start to do? They start to go, Cam doesn't even want to be there. He's using us. He's using us for our NIL money. It's like, no, he's not. This is a guy who is an insane competitor. What's happening really is the injury is obviously more significant than we'd thought, right? So in the end, here's what Kyle Whittingham had to do yesterday during media availability. Do you think this is how he wants to spend his time? You could avoid it, Coach. We could be more transparent. We could figure out how to talk about it. But here's what Kyle Whittingham said, because he had to actually address an issue that is not an issue, which was whether or not Cam Rising wants to play or not, which is not the question, but this is where people are right now.
All I'll say is Cam Rising wants to play worse than anybody, and when he's able to, he will. And it's not like he's been just able to play and not going. That's not the case. I'm not sure what you mean when they say he's taking heat. I'm never on social media. I don't know anything that's going on out there, so I don't know where that's coming from. But I can tell you for certain that he wants to play, and as soon as he gets the go-ahead, he will play, and we hope it's this next game.
Do you see what I'm saying do you see what I'm saying? Like, we start to ask all the wrong questions because we haven't gotten an answer to the one question.
Exactly.
Right? So, by the way, the media, we get painted as the jerks for asking questions like, does Cam want to even do this? Like, it seems like, because he's taking heat on social media that people say he doesn't want to play.
This is from chat rooms. This is the Utah message boards, right?
Of course. No one who actually
This is from Ute Zone.
There's no way. There's
time to move on from an injury-prone starter. Yes, thank you for your heart and grit, but I believe at this point he's doing more harm than good. Here's another one. I've been a fan of Rising, but I'm tired of the circus surrounding if he plays or not. It's not Cam's fault. The distraction is solely on Witt's handling of the injury. Tell us the ... truth. This is not the media. These are fans.
Right. But we know people inside the program that feel a little bit like,
right.
Not that they are like, I'm over Cam,
It's
dude.
not about Cam. It's about the way the situation is
right.
being handled.
And it's also more
and
about
there's an aloofness about it.
Well,
like,
because
what are you talking about?
Right.
What's the problem here?
No one's talking about the actual
I'm
football.
on social media. I don't know what's going on.
No one's talking about football, which is where we should be talking about, which is what we should be talking about. And so you instead start to do anything you can to talk about all the stuff. Why are we talking about this? Well, because we just don't know the answers. Well, let's start guessing. So then a video pops up on social media. I saw it this morning, courtesy of Sam Farnsworth's X account, right? Where he's signing at this event, and it looks like he's wearing a bionic middle three fingers, right? And so I don't know what the reality is, except for then everybody looks at that and goes, aha, you've been lying to us. How many stitches was it? Tell me where you were on the night of the 3rd. How many stitches did you have? What is it? Is it a real laceration? Maybe the tetanus and the infection and being in the hospital with the fever. That was all right. All the stuff that I'd heard online, all the people speculating. You can cut all the speculation down, and I get it. Of course there doesn't need to be. By law, you don't have to tell anybody anything about your health. I get it. But this is a little bit of a different circumstance because of how people feel like they need to get – they want to know. They feel like they've been lied to is what I think is going on. People feel like they've been lied to. They got jerked around with it last year, and the word circus is being used more than once about Cam Rising. Steve Bartle, who we're going to have on later in the program, by the way, said, look, no one's – here's the thing. Cam Rising is injured. He really is. And I don't think anybody disputes that. It's about this minute by minute, like, I think he's probably going to be ready to go because we had that last year with a way worse injury. So that's the part. I think that everybody wants – they want the transparency there. They want to feel like that the team – because if they said it, then at least the questions would stop for now, right?
There's one more thing about the transparency that we haven't discussed. And it's almost we've almost created a shareholder situation here. Right?
I pay
so we
into the
talked about the
collective.
fans, we talked about the media, we talked about people that bet on games, shame on them. But there's one group in particular that really have a reason to be upset, and it's the people that are paying money in the NIL. And who's getting more money in NIL than anybody in the state?
Yeah.
Cam Rising. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not going to be transparent about his injury situation, you're allowing those people to start to question the integrity of the situation. And that is unfortunate because that's a bigger issue. Once people paying into NIL or those people that are funding this lose trust, then the NIL opportunities disappear for future players. Because those people that are putting money into that want a return on investment, ROI. And they're not getting it right now from Cam Rising. Now, if he had a busted finger and he obviously can't throw in his throwing hand, everybody would understand. But there's nothing to understand because we don't know what's really going on.
Did anybody say when this that was one thing I didn't see. When was the autographing event? It was yesterday?
Yeah.
This posted yesterday. Not over the weekend, though. Wasn't. All right.
There's a solution to this problem that would eliminate all of this. It would be a system of transparency when it comes to injuries, a reporting of injuries. The Big Ten and the SEC are talking about it right now.
Big Ten does some version of it.
Is the solution to this problem. It would eliminate any and all doubt. Essentially, what Connor Pay came on our show and did yesterday would be required of all the injuries. They have to file an injury report. They have to tell people whether somebody's questionable with this injury or doubtful or not going to play.
The NBA is funny because
they can't do this thing where like, let's decide 1 minute before the snap happens.
Right.
Come on, no one's doing that.
But the other thing that happens is that like I mean, every sport's a little bit different. The NFL is very, 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 very detailed. And you've got to be like, hey, this is what we anticipate. And then their roster status is even determined by how much that they are going to be out, right? And so
they have to call someone off the practice squad if they have some. They have to say they have a list of inactives. The NFL, the teams have to submit a list of inactives before the games on Sunday.
Right, and if you're going to miss more than 4 games, you're considered on the IR.
You can't do the 5 minutes before kickoff thing in the NFL.
How long are you going to be out? Oh man, as soon as I can get back, I'll be back. Because they can't do the same thing. So
the Cowboys, for instance, can't be like Micah Parsons. He might play, he might not. Did he practice today? We don't have to tell you that. And you can't watch your practices. And then you do all this stuff all the way up to game time. You can't do that in the NFL. And it eliminates all the problems. Because what if they do that in the NFL? Yeah. What if people are like, what's wrong with Micah Parsons? He's not playing today.
Okay.
I thought he was dressed. I thought he was ready to go. What's going on? What's the deal?
What's the NBA do? What do the Jazz do? You have somebody who gets injured, and you go, so-and-so got injured. It's a lower leg injury on the ankle. Dr. So-and-so at the University of Utah will evaluate, and we will check back in again in 2 weeks. Like they'll say straight up, like, we will reevaluate in 2 weeks. And you know what that does? That tells us, what's the point of even asking anything for the next 2 weeks?
Because, we know he's out at least 2 weeks.
Because you're not going to go, so is he doing better this week? You could maybe do that, and they go, well, we don't know. We're going to reevaluate the next week.
In the NFL, they have an IR. And when you put someone on IR, they are out at least 4 weeks. So you know. So you're not questioning the heart and the integrity of the player. You're not questioning whether the coach is lying to you or not, which I hate doing.
It's so dumb.
I have so much respect and love for Kyle Whittingham. I don't want to sit here and have to wonder. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to watch these teams play football. That's all I care about.
Right. If Utah was 5-0, would fans be this incensed? Not even close.
We wouldn't be talking about Cam Rising. We'd be talking about Isaac Wilson. And that's a completely different conversation.
Right.
But that's not happening
because even though he's gotten the team to 4-1 essentially, everyone looks at that last performance and goes, guess this is the future. I guess Cam is going to short us of the opportunity to go to the Big 12 championship game. It's like it's more complicated than that. But it doesn't need to be. Let's get with the transparency. Let's figure it out. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back.
Institute a system of injury reporting, and all these problems are solved.
Our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, Mitch Harper, going to join us next. The start to BYU's 5-0 season. The big deal that is surrounding this program right now, how nobody in the program is surprised by this. But you, JJ, you're the only one who didn't believe.
Hater.
I love it. So we're going to talk to Mitch next. So stay right here with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Mira. All right. Andy Ibanez is the hero today for the Detroit Tigers, who have...
I thought you said his name was Craig.
I thought it was Craig Ibanez. I was certain of it. Greg or Craig? No. Andy Ibanez, 3-run pinch hit, 3-run triple in the 8th inning to sink the Astros. And I know it's only a 3-game series, but it's nice to say they sweep them on the road down in Houston. I've been in that building. The amount of... the Houston Astros... For a good stretch there were the New England Patriots. And I use that not just because of all the winning, but of all the cheating.
Yeah.
That happened in the middle of all the
actually a great analogy, because how many times have they won the AL West out of the last, 8 years? 7 out of the last 8?
Yeah.
They are the Patriots of baseball.
Yep. Yeah.
They win every year with a lot of controversy.
And there's like a couple years in there where you go, yeah, but remember that Deflategate? Remember Videogate? How many gates did Bill Belichick have to have?
Too many gates.
By the way, did you see that recent thing where they were like, yeah, Coach Belichick used to come to the quarterback's room and he never wore socks. He would just come in and take his shoes off.
Oh.
And Matt Castle, and they had a picture of it and he goes, and the quarterback room was small. And Matt Castle would come in and go, oh my gosh, what is that freaking smell? And he'd look right at Bill's feet, but no one else would hassle him about it. And he'd be like, shut up, Castle, sit down. And he would just... Everyone had to deal with the stench of Bill Belichick's No socks, shoes taken off in the building. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, your Detroit Tigers are headed to the ALDS. But we don't know who they're playing yet?
No, they're playing the Guardians.
Not as fun as the Yankees. But still, AL Central. Nice. Let's go. All right. Joining us on the program right now, Mitch Harper, BYU insider for KSLSports.com. Mitch, how you doing, man? You just did 3 hours. Are you okay?
I'm doing great.
Or did you do a full 3 hours with hands, or was it?
I did 1 hour.
Okay. Oof. I thought it was a really heavy lift. No, this is easy work then. All right.
I came in with shoes too.
Thanks.
I wasn't like
appreciate
Belichick
you.
rolling in with bare feet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thanks for sticking around and hanging out with us. I want to get your reaction. And we were just having this long conversation about injury reporting in college, and specifically here, you have a couple of coaches who have the same philosophy when it comes to this. And we have this Cam Rising stuff going on, and the kids getting blamed. Well, what's funny is because no one knows what the answer is, they just assume this guy has some malintent, that he is trying to game the system, that he actually doesn't really want to play football anymore. And that couldn't be further from the truth. But those are the types of questions that people start asking
when you don't have answers.
When we don't actually hear anything, right? And this must be frustrating for you to follow and for you to covering college football, because injury stuff it makes you nuts.
No question. I mean, 2 years ago, it was Puka Nacua watch every week. And it was just give a clear answer, because the thing is that ideally we want to highlight the next great story. You know, fans want to enjoy sports. It's entertainment. They want to learn about these personalities that are going to emerge and fill in for the person that's injured. When you are limited to a certain time frame, because I don't think fans always realize the limited opportunities we get with coaches now. Well, we're going to ask the question about an injury for a player if it's a mysterious deal. But it just takes away opportunities to highlight, say, an Isaac Wilson, in this case for Utah, but for BYU, when it was Puka Nacua watch every week, some of the backup receivers that were filling in for him, when you just say, hey, LJ Martin, he's out this week, doubtful, we're going to rest him for the bye, he's coming back for Arizona. Not asking about it. We didn't ask this week in the bye week because he's coming back, and we're talking about Enoch Nawahine and Sione Aimoa, and you're getting to know these personalities and players, because it just takes away from the chance to really get to know the players that you're watching if you're a fan.
Yeah, we're hoping to get him back. It's like, oh, okay, all right.
But also too, I think an underrated thing, and I don't know if our market understands as well, because it's just not in our face when it comes to the gambling side.
Yes.
But that is a real piece.
We brought it
really
up.
is. I mean, because when you're dealing with money exchanging hands, like you could think about in the Big 12 last year, the Hunter Deckers and the running back, his name escapes me. It worked out for Iowa State because now it's Becht and Abu Sama, but those guys were suspended and faced charges for gambling issues, and it lost their careers. So because when you get this info, these gamblers are going to find advantages and try to go to the support staff and almost, poke and prod to figure out where they're going to get this info so they can get an advantage and make tons of money. And then they leverage that info to make money. It's like, just be as transparent as possible. Hopefully your mark and the Big 12 realize, hey, SEC and the Big 10 are doing this. Let's just have availability reports Tuesday, Thursday, and then 2 hours before game day, and then call it good. And
do what the NFL does. You
Right.
eliminate the problem, and you don't have people questioning the integrity of these players who are legitimately out or hurt. Like what Connor came on our show. Connor Pay came out, told us exactly what happened, what the injury is, how long he's going to be out. End of story. We don't have to talk about it ever again.
2 years ago, Gunnar Romney, he was coming on this station every week with, I think it was Jake and Ben, but he had an injury against Notre Dame, and there was this one reporter said that he stayed overnight in Vegas, and then Kalani goes to his presser and was like, no, he was with us. And it was just like, what's going on here? This confusion, yet he never plays. And then it was just like, let's just own it, say a certain time frame, say a timeline, and then it's out. Like we're not worried about it. Like you don't have to say season ending. I think for some reason these coaches have just been spooked by the idea of, if it's not season ending, we're not giving a timeline. We're not saying 4 weeks.
I'm not saying anything about it. Yeah, which is always weird. I mean, look, I get it. What was funny is that I think Connor told us too. He goes, yeah. Well, I mean, it's my body, so I guess I'm fine to talk to you guys about it.
And these staffs in the Power Four, they have so many resources where, you know what, they're going to be able to find film on what Sonny Mocassini looked like at Timpview as a center. what Bruce Mitchell looked like as a center
South Summit.
Right, at South Summit. They're going to find it. They're going to be able to see what he looks like, or they're going to be able to get intel. These staffs, they know everything. They're going to be able to scout it. There's no hiding who you are at this point. It's now game 6. Like, you are kind of who you are, and you're just now looking to just execute at a little bit higher level and eliminate those margins for error to come away victorious. But the cameras have been on. Like, we're seeing these guys. Maybe I can understand it for game 1, but it's game 6 now.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, maybe this just sounds like us making a wholly inappropriate request that we are asking these young men to open their medical files and give us all these. And that's not what it is. I think this is what happens. This is a product. What we've seen with Cam is a product of not saying anything, which is then people just start to question whether or not the kid wants to be here. And then the NIL money, by the way, if the NIL money wasn't there, that would eliminate most of the conversation we're having about this.
Are we asking about Karene Reed?
No,
because we don't know how much NIL money Karene Reed's making.
Right,
but Karene Reed is as much or even more of a significant injury for Utah and their issues than Cam is. But we're not talking about that.
What about the donors and what they've done? And it's like, yeah, but you technically can't pay a player because of their ability to play. You're paying them because of that person and who they are, and that's it. That's how it works. And so that's the part that I think gets frustrating for people. All right, I just had to get that out there because I know that you deal day in and day out with this stuff, and the injury stuff can get frustrating at the very least.
I will add, too, just to kind of wrap that up, I do think, from my experience this year with BYU coaches, they have been a little bit more open than most years.
That's good to hear.
And I think that it is this understanding of what happened at Iowa State in the league, just be a little more transparent, because you don't want to have, and again, like, that's very few and far between, the gambling stuff, but you just be as transparent as possible so you're not getting players in spots where their families are getting asked by gamblers, like, what's the info here? Because these people, it's crazy, the gambling scene. Like, you saw it, I think it was Auburn's quarterback who said he was getting endless Venmo requests from gamblers asking for money.
They wanted their money back.
Just be as transparent as possible and just move on from it, because really, once it's out there, like, we're going to move on from it. We're going to focus on the actual games and the competitiveness and what's taking place in the X's and O's.
So let's do that with BYU. They are the surprise 5-0 team, maybe in the country, but definitely in the Big 12. Of course, a lot of BYU fans think all of us were idiots that we didn't see this coming.
Yep.
Come on now. I mean, this is unbelievable, this run they're on. How have they been able to do it, and is it sustainable?
The defense, first off, is the reason why they're 5-0, because they have just made significant leaps where this is a top 25 defense, and I think it's going to carry its way throughout this season. They got to stay healthy in some key spots. I think along the defensive line, that starting 4 is critical, because I still have some questions about the ability of that second unit, as far as if they were thrust into an important role, what could they provide? But this defense has been really good for BYU, and even in a game against Baylor where they're giving up 28 points, there was still this ability to make big plays, takeaways, and come up with some sacks. And that just wasn't happening in years past. So BYU is doing a nice job there. I also credit the offensive line. The offensive line has made a lot of improvements to not give up any sacks against Baylor, a team that had 8 sacks against Colorado. Another sign that BYU is making improvements there, and that was without Connor Pay for a majority of the game. Waylon Lapuaho was out for a lot of that game, and then he came back. But that offensive line has really improved. And then you got to give credit, too, to Jake Retzlaff. I think that's the third piece here, is that he has made improvements to where we shouldn't be having the conversation of, bench him and go with Gary Bohannon. No, he's your QB1, and he's going to be the guy you move forward with, and he's going to have throws, probably a handful of them, where you're going to be, holding on for dear life, and it's going to put you through it.
Why does it have to be like that, though? Because everybody saw that first half that he had and went, okay, just do that.
But he has some spectacular throws
he
now.
Does.
And last year, he never had any spectacular throws, and that's a sign of the improvements he's made, but they still got to get rid of some of those devastating mistakes. And if he can get rid of that, BYU can be in a spot where they're in Arlington. And look, the best team in the Big 12 this year is probably, and we've talked about this, Alex, but it might be the 15th best team in college football. And not necessarily, and it's not going to be a team that probably causes havoc in the playoff, but hey, it don't matter. Like, if you can find a way to just get to Arlington somehow, some way, that's an amazing season.
Okay, getting to Arlington, fine, fun, awesome. That'd be insanely stumbling for BYU.
And they can do it now. Like, winning at Baylor,
path is there.
It's there.
But the conversation
Combined with Utah
yes.
stumbling a little bit and Oklahoma State 0-2.
And having a win over K-State.
I mean, right now,
Yes.
Arizona looks like the biggest threat, but 2 teams go to Arlington. It's not just one.
BYU's got a tiebreaker over K-State, and that's what makes it huge,
Yes.
too.
I want to, because now all these weird projections, I say weird because it's hilarious that we're at this point now, we're in the 6th week of the season now, and we're having this conversation, but BYU comes up in the college football playoff scenario. And that question, you have to put them there just because of where they're at, not because of anything like
One team from this league goes.
You're not, well, I mean, in a lot of those scenarios, they've had a couple because, and again, let me just paint the dream scenario for you and I, Mitch, and for JJ, of course. You and I have exchanged these text messages. That's why I think it's funny. BYU, there's a world where BYU and Utah play on November 9th and play on December 3rd, or what's the actual date? Or December 7th in Arlington. And in that world, there's also a possibility of maybe BYU going in, losing at Utah on November 9th, and then going into Arlington and beating Utah on December 7th, and both teams going to the college football playoff.
It's definitely there.
That is a weird scenario that is currently on the table.
Yeah, and that's why this 16-team Big 12, despite its flaws on the field, and they got flaws, this league, but that 12-team playoff injects so much hope and belief in life, because if you didn't have that element, like, yes, the chase for a conference title would be awesome, but to think that you can go to the playoff and play for a national title, that just – it adds so much intrigue to this league that otherwise is really out of sight and out of mind in the national championship mix. But that's the value of this new playoff being created, is that every market now from coast to coast feels like you've got a chance still. And that's just an awesome thing in college football that no one has experienced, especially at BYU. And what's great for BYU is that they're no longer drawing up, well, SMU better do this and they better live up to this. Like, no, just keep taking care of business and you will be in. And that's a nice thing that BYU has never experienced.
It's a new world.
Oh.
And it's awesome.
Well, Mitch, it's fun to do your job these days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Things are good.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, and then you pair it up with BYU basketball yesterday. They got going with some immediate availability, and it's exciting
They're
times
doing
for
the
BYU.
Midnight Madness tomorrow night? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, Marriott Madness.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Dunk contest, 3-point shootout, and I'm sure Kevin Young might speak to the fans. I expect it's going to be a little more tempered than some of the Eminem lose yourself moments with Mark Pope. I don't expect that from Kevin Young, but a lot of energy in hoops, a lot of excitement in football. I mean, these are good times for BYU, and you're in a power conference, so enjoy it, Cougar fans.
All right, there you go. Mitch Harper, thanks, man. We appreciate you hanging out a little bit longer, too.
You bet, guys. Take care.
We'll take the break. We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner. Our Would You Rather is right around the corner. You don't want to miss any of that. Plus, it is a Win Ticket Wednesday. We've got all sorts of things for you. So stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Would you rather? Brought to you by the good folks at Cafe Rio and their extremely popular Taco Tuesdays. Listen every Tuesday for your chance to win $20 to Cafe Rio with a nice little gift card from them. So, I'm just saying, you don't have to use it on Tuesday. Hey, Jeremy, the gift card doesn't have to be used on Tuesday. It just goes further. It goes a lot further on a Tuesday, on a Taco Tuesday. So we're just telling you. That's a hack for you. JJ and I are both cheap, right? And if
Not
I
gonna
could
argue.
If I could order a taco or two for one kid, make them put every topping that's available under the sun, another couple tacos for another kid, every topping under the sun.
How many tacos do you have to order?
What's
your biggest taco order for the family? How many do you need?
So you remember back in the day, there was a local taco place that do those. They would do the Taco Tuesdays, and they'd basically put together like these tiny, really tiny tacos, and they used to be like 3 for $1, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be unheard of for us to get 40. It wouldn't be unheard of for us
40
to get
tacos to feed your family in one meal.
get 45. And then there's always like a random kid who's like, give me the chili fries. But anyway.
There's always that kid that thinks they're entitled to the root beer float.
Oh, yeah. But those tacos are not created equal with these. Because if you get one of these, like I can eat one Cafe Rio Taco Tuesday taco and put all of the things, because I like all the things on it. And I've hacked the system. I've made a burrito. Joke's on them. Taco Tuesday turns into a burrito Tuesday for me. All right. Probably not what they want to hear, but guess what? It's my choice. My topping's my choice. Get out of my face. All right. Would you rather goes like this, JJ? I give you a scenario. You give me a thing you'd rather do.
Sounds fun. Let's try it.
Would you rather have your favorite college football team be in a Super League but never be competitive, or be a step below and win that G6 championship?
The G6? You want to be Vanderbilt? Would you rather be Vanderbilt or Boise State? Right now. Would you rather know that you have no hope and you got no star players, or would you rather be Boise State right now, knowing you have a shot at winning your conference and getting that P4 spot, or that's that group of 5 spot?
Yeah, it's a bad
and
pick.
having a player like Ashton Genty, who's in the Heisman conversation.
Isn't that weird to have? Look,
but Boise State is not a Power 4 program.
You're right.
See what I'm saying? I'd rather be Boise State. I'd rather cheer for Boise State, a team that's going to win every year. What fun is it to be the bottom dweller in a power conference? What?
I feel bad for the Commodores. Feel
How
bad
many
for
people
Vanderbilt.
you see walking around wearing their Rutgers hats?
Well, right now,
nobody cares.
Right now,
Trust
lots
me.
of Greg Schiano fans walking around.
Nobody in New York
even knows who
City
Greg Schiano
or the
is.
northern Jersey area
How dare
gives
you.
a crap about Rutgers football.
My son, we were watching that Rutgers game the other night, and they were playing. Who were they playing? That they beat.
Was it Washington?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was UW. It was Big Ten Washington versus Rutgers. Just die right now, Big Ten, would you? Jeez. So, I am so incensed. The reason my brain forgot that is because it is so stupid to me that my University of Washington Huskies went to Rutgers, all right, go to fill-in-the-blank township in New Jersey and freaking lose a game on a Thursday night or on a Friday night or whatever it was. Pisses me off. But anyway, I'm sitting there, and on the back of their helmet, they have the very recognizable, outline of the state of New Jersey. And my son goes, "Oh, what is that? What is that? What is that on the back of what's that on the back of their helmet there? What shape is that?" I go, "That is the beautiful state of New Jersey, son." And he goes, "I should know this, but where is that?" And I go, "Our school system failed you. Our school system failed you, but you're right though. You're right not to know."
Geography is a lost art.
But again, saying to somebody, "Hey, where's Rutgers?" I would say 5 out of 10 kids you'd ask.
You could go out on the street right now here in Salt Lake City.
What do you think, 20%?
95 out of 100 people couldn't tell you where Rutgers is located.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're a powerhouse, right?
State College of New Jersey. It's in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
New Brunswick.
Yes.
I thought it was in one of the townships.
Brick buildings.
Okay, would you rather have the first pick in the NBA draft, JJ, this year, or make it to the conference finals?
First pick, because if you get the first pick this year, you have a chance to go to multiple finals in the future.
Says who? Cooper Flag?
Yeah.
Woo.
Did you watch him play in the Olympic practice?
Okay.
That was something.
Knowing what you saw out of him there, Wemby or Cooper Flag?
Wemby.
I'm still not convinced.
You aren't?
No, I feel like he's going to break at any moment here.
Dude's Gumby. He hasn't broken yet. He hasn't had any injury problems.
Okay.
Knock on wood. I don't want to see that. He's a generator. I mean, we've never seen anyone like him. We've seen plenty of 7'4" guys. None of them can play point guard.
George Mirasan.
Yeah, imagine the late great Mark Eaton bringing the ball up the floor. That's what he
Sean
is.
Bradley. Manute Bol brings it up the court from 3. Although Bol, how tall is Bol? He's only like 6'10". I love that. Oh, he's nowhere near his dad's height. Bol, 6'10". He shoots from the outside though.
Yes, he does.
So,
But everybody does in the NBA.
Everybody.
these days.
If you're going to play at all, you got to do it now. Who is the most ineffective big person who played in the league ever? Just a big person in the middle.
Joe Klein? I don't know. I'm starting.
Tractor trailer. May he rest.
Tractor trailer?
Yeah. Taco Fall, yeah, he was bad. You know what? That name did not help.
I mean, Kwame Brown didn't work out very well.
Yeah, it's true.
Some here might say Greg Ostertag. I don't think that's nice.
Tag had a ton of years in this league, though.
He had some he hit some good moments.
And I'll tell you too, the best of what version of what the Jazz team was, he was on those teams. So say what you will about Tag.
The Jazz don't get to the finals without Greg Ostertag. So don't put Greg on your list.
I definitely roll my eyes about like his numbers. But he was better than Hakeem Olajuwon in those conference finals. Am I wrong, JJ?
I'd have to also throw in the yeah, that's for sure.
I just wanted to say that to diss on Jeremy and his guys. All right.
I hate the Rockets. Where's Maxwell? Vernon Maxwell. When you need him. I'll throw out Jack Haley, the late great Jack Haley, who's the greatest cheerleader in NBA history.
So you got tractor.
Not
trailer.
a great big man.
Who is another? Who is Big Country? Who is Big Country?
Brian Reeves.
Vancouver
Grizzlies.
Also not good. Yeah, Vancouver Grizzlies. When you have to throw in the Vancouver, we know you probably didn't have much of a career. Yeah. He was kind of the poor man's Ostertag. Very similar.
They both had crew
They
cuts.
both had a flat top. That was
What
really
happened
what it
to
was.
flat top?
Hey, what happened? Flat
Where'd
tops?
it go?
I should tell my kid because if everything else has come back around.
Have you seen any?
Everything else has come
There's
back
got to
around.
be some barbershops around the country still doing flat tops.
Somebody's hooking up a flat top. My assistant
Do
principal.
they not do that in the Marines anymore? Where'd they go?
My assistant principal at the middle school I was at in Texas, who, by the way, this is a school they still inflicted corporal punishment. Okay.
Wow.
The paddle was on the wall.
Jeez.
And technically, the schools had to ask permission at the beginning of the year. They had to sign like a parental waiver that you could sign off on your kid getting spanked in school.
Wow.
Yes. And Mr. Middleton had the paddle on the wall, and it was like a reminder. Isn't that weird?
That is.
And I'm like, I'm in my early 40s. I'm not that old.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Texas, man.
But you know what? Flat top. A guy who's going to spank you at school is going to have a flat top. All right? Just telling you. I'm just telling you. All right. I called your dad. I think my parents didn't sign it. My dad's like, I'll handle it. Which also was not good news either. All right? All right. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. Hey, when we do return, our weekly conversation with Utah running back Mekhi Bernard. We're going to have that conversation next. Don't miss any of it. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.